My name is Rachel Miller. I live in Portland, Oregon. I am 35 years old. I am quiet, always quiet. Too quiet, they say. People talk over me. They smile. They forget my words. But I remember. I remember everything. I was at work. It was a Monday, cold, gray, the kind of day that makes coffee taste like a hug. I sat at my desk, typing, listening, watching. He walked in. David. Tall, confident, the kind of man who fills a room with his voice. He laughed. He told stories. Everyone listened. I didn't speak, not yet. Later in the meeting, I had an idea, a good one. My heart beat fast. I opened my mouth. I think. He cut me off. He smiled. That fake smile. Rachel, he said, you're too quiet to matter. The room laughed, a light laugh, but it felt like knives. My face burned, my throat closed. I wanted to disappear. That night I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my face, my eyes, too quiet to matter. I heard his voice again, and again, and again. Something broke, but something also woke up. I remembered school. When I was 8, a teacher said, "You need to speak louder, Rachel." When I was 15, a boy in class said, "You're boring." When I was 22, my first boss said, "You don't have the personality for leadership." I carried those words like stones in my pocket, heavy, cold, but this time I felt different. I was angry. I sat on my bed. I took my notebook. I wrote, "I am quiet, but I am not nothing. I am not invisible. I matter." That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought of all the times I stayed silent, not because I had nothing to say, but because I thought no one would listen. The next day at work, I saw David again. He smiled like nothing happened. He didn't know, he didn't care, but I did. I decided something. I wouldn't shout. I wouldn't change my nature. I would use my quiet, turn it into power. I started reading books about confidence, about speaking up, about people like me, introverts. I practiced at home, in the mirror, in the shower, in my car. Weeks passed. I spoke more in meetings, short sentences, but strong, clear. People listened. Not everyone, but some. And that was enough for now. Still, his words stayed in my head, too quiet to matter. One night I wrote them on a page, then I tore the page. Tiny pieces, I threw them away. But I knew this was only the beginning, because the real test was still ahead. The next morning I walked into the office, cold air, bright lights, busy voices. I carried my coffee, my notebook, and something new inside me, a small fire. At my desk, I saw the email. Subject, presentation tomorrow. From Boss Linda. My stomach twisted. Presentation? Me? I opened the email. It said, Rachel, I want you to present the project results to the whole team tomorrow morning. My hands shook. I read it again and again. The whole team, including David. I wanted to say no. I wanted to hide, but my fingers typed, sure, I can do that. I hit send. My heart raced. That night, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I sat with my notebook, wrote every point, practiced every line. My voice trembled, my throat felt dry. I heard David's voice in my head. Too quiet to matter. I closed my eyes. I whispered to myself, I matter. I matter. I matter. Morning came too fast. I wore my best blouse. Navy blue. Simple but strong. I walked to the meeting room. My legs felt heavy. The room was full, people talking, laughing. David sat near the front, his chair leaned back, arms crossed, that same smug smile. Linda stood up. Rachel will share the project update. Shh, she said. All eyes turned to me. The room went quiet. My mouth felt dry. My palms were wet. I looked at the slides, then at the people, then at myself. I remembered the mirror. I remembered the girl who thought she was invisible. Not today. I spoke, soft at first, but steady. Our project good. Reached the goals we set. Here are the results. I showed the numbers, the charts, explained every point. No jokes, no loud voice, just calm, clear, certain. Halfway through, I saw David. His smile was gone. Now he was listening. I finished. My hands were still shaking, but I stood tall. Linda smiled. Thank you, Rachel. That was clear and very professional. People nodded. A few even said, Good job. After the meeting, I walked back to my desk. My chest felt warm. David passed me. He didn't say a word, but I didn't need him to. That night at home, I made tea. I sat by the window. The rain tapped on the glass. I thought of all the years I stayed silent, and I smiled. This wasn't the end, it was the first step, and I was ready for the next one. The next week, life felt lighter. The air felt softer. I was breathing easier. But inside me, I knew my journey was not over. Saturday came. I went to the bookstore, the smell of paper, the quiet hum of music. I was looking for a novel, something peaceful. That's when I heard it. A sharp voice, angry, loud. I turned my head. Near the children's section, a man was yelling at a young employee. "You messed up my order," he shouted. The boy's face turned red. He looked scared. I froze. My heart pounded. This was not my business. I could walk away. I could stay quiet. But something inside me moved. I stepped closer. My voice was soft, but my words were firm. "Sir, please lower your voice. You're making him uncomfortable." The man turned to me. His eyes were sharp. "Mind your own business." My legs trembled, but I didn't back away. "It is my business," I said. "When someone is being treated badly." The boy looked at me, his eyes wide. The man muttered something, then walked away. The boy whispered, "Thank you." I walked to the counter. My knees still felt weak. I wasn't loud, I wasn't dramatic, but I stood up. On the way home, I thought of David's words again, too quiet to matter. I almost laughed. At home, I wrote in my notebook, "I don't need to be loud to make a difference. I just need to speak when it matters most." The next day, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Linda. "Rachel, I'd like you to lead the next client call." My fingers didn't shake this time. I typed back, "Yes." I put my phone down. I made myself coffee, and I whispered to the girl in the mirror, "You matter. You always did." 2 weeks later, Linda called me to her office. She smiled. "Rachel, we're hosting a company event next Friday. I want you to give the welcome speech." I froze. "A speech?" She nodded. "Just 5 minutes. You'll be great." 5 minutes. In front of everyone, not just my team, the whole company. My chest tightened. My hands felt cold. That night, I sat at my desk. The lamp cast a soft glow. I opened my notebook, blank page, pen in hand. What would I say? I thought of my journey, of every time I stayed silent, of David's words, of the bookstore, of the mirror. I began to write slowly, carefully. Friday came, the room was full, rows of chairs, people talking, laughing. I stood at the side, notes in my hand. Linda walked over. "You'll do great," she whispered. They called my name. I walked to the front. The lights felt bright, too bright. I took a deep breath. "Good evening," I began, my voice calm, clear. I used to be afraid to speak, not because I had nothing to say, but because I thought no one wanted to hear me. The room went quiet. Every face looked at me. Someone once told me I was too quiet to matter. For a long time I believed them. But I learned something. You don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to shout to make a difference. You just have to speak when it matters most. I paused. Let the silence hold my words. Tonight, I want to thank everyone who ever listened. And I want to tell anyone who feels invisible, you matter. You always did. I stepped back. The room erupted in applause. My heart raced, not from fear, but from pride. At the back of the room, I saw David. He was clapping too, slow, silent. It didn't matter anymore. Later that night, I stood by the mirror. The same mirror where I once whispered, "I matter." This time I didn't whisper, "I matter." I always did. And for the first time in my life, I believed it completely. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world to me.